Greetings, Sleepy Hollow fans. I invite you to get yourself a cozy beverage in your favorite mug, or maybe one that goes with the theme, and sit back and relax. And I'm going to tell you some really cool things to do the next time you are in Sleepy Hollow, New York. Now, probably the most obvious one is going to be you want to go to see the Sleepy Hollow sign, which I highly recommend. And I actually had a Le Femme Noir Sleepy Hollow inspired dress and pumpkin bag with me to get my photo. So that was really cool to actually get to wear it in Sleepy Hollow. I've been wanting to go to Sleepy Hollow, New York for a few decades, actually, so it was so wonderful to be there. I was there towards the end of May of this year, 2026. So my experience at that time is going to be different if you went in October. But even in May, there was a lot of cars, kind of slow-moving traffic in the Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown area. And some of these things I'm talking about are also Tarrytown because they both really just kind of come together and connect. And you want to do things in both. But keep in mind that, and when it comes to parking, there's some meters that are like coin meters. There are meters that have like a parking app. There's some places that have like weird signs, park here now, don't park here at this time kind of thing. So kind of keep that in mind and be aware of you might need to walk a little bit to get to some of these things. Now there may be something there you have not heard about, and there's this grocery store that's called Dusico and Sons. And what's really cool about it is that they really embrace the Sleepy Hollow atmosphere. And if you walk in and go upstairs, they actually have like the Headless Horseman costume and some other costumes from the Sleepy Hollow movie that had like Johnny Depp in it and Christopher Walken. So you can go up there and really see the costumes, and there's some other things in the store too you could see. So I really thought that was kind of cool. And the beautiful thing about the grocery store is it's free parking. So you're not paying to park to go into that one. Right up the road from the grocery store is Bridgeview Tavern, and they also have their own parking lot, but it's only if you're going to be eating in the restaurant, so keep that in mind. But at least you know, hey, free parking there as well. And I, many years ago, lived in New Orleans for a year, and I would love to get like shrimp po' boys, and this restaurant has those, and they're so good. It was really like a lovely menu. So that's another one. If you're like, oh, I need a little lunch, but maybe I don't want to be on the main drag, it's a great place to go. And an absolute must is you've got to go to the Old Dutch Church, especially if you're a fan of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow book, because that church is mentioned in the book. So it is so cool to be like in this part of like history, something that still exists today. So you got the Old Dutch Church, and it's also connected to the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. And that cemetery goes on and on. It's huge. When you first pull into the area for that, there's a few parking spaces, but if those are full, you'd have to find parking elsewhere, and there's no restrooms or anything in that area, so just keep that in mind. And if you park there and go in, you've got kind of like, this road kind of goes this way, this one goes up to the Old Dutch Church, but this one, if you take it and walk like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes tops, you're gonna come to this little bridge. And it is so cool. It's not the original bridge that's in the book, but it really feels like it, and it feels so magical there. But if you do go there and you want to take a photo or filming, keep in mind cars did come through there and go across it, so keep an eye out for cars. And it's one of those bridges that like you feel the wood of it doing this if a car goes over it. But oh, it was just such a lovely spot, and I really felt like you could envision the Headless Horseman and Ichabod riding across it. Now maybe you're like, I need some caffeine. Especially with all the walking, you're probably gonna need a little coffee boost. We went to Coffee Lab Roasters, and very yummy coffee, and sometimes Mad Donuts has their donuts there, so you might want to check that out and pick up a donut as well to, you know, fortify you for all the walking. If you love trees, the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery does have some really cool ones, but some of my favorite were actually at Lyndhurst, which is a Gothic revival mansion, and you do have to pay a small fee to be on the property. So many cool trees, and you can see the outside of the mansion. Now maybe you want to do a little bit of shopping while you're there. I really liked Cozy Coven. They were going to have all your kind of magic-y, witchy kind of fun items. And I've actually ordered from them a couple times online as well. So you've got that as an option, but it's definitely worth going in person. And I also recommend Bella Boutique. They've got kind of some cool souvenirs and postcards and stuff, but they also carry some local artist items. And if you've ever seen the YouTube channel, It's a Charming Life, Jonas from there, he has some of his art on display there that you can buy prints of. And if you can't make it to Sleepy Hollow, you can get his art through Etsy at the Woodland Library store. Now, a place in Sleepy Hollow that I had been dreaming about eating at for a few years is Horse Feathers. Oh my goodness. And I will tell you, we got there around 5 o'clock each night to eat. And I did eat there every night, 3 nights in a row, because so good. And that was my plan anyways. Even at 5 o'clock though, they were really filling up, so keep that in mind. And again, that's a place that's gonna have parking meters out front, and there's a tiny little parking area in the back of the place. And Horse Feathers has been around since like 1981, and the owner, Julia, it was really cool because I follow her stuff on Instagram all this time, and it was really cool. I actually got to meet her in person. I got a picture with her, so I was really happy about that. She's a really cool person. And Horse Feathers, it's like this cozy pub, but it's also like a literary pub. But you also feel like, yeah, I am in Sleepy Hollow. And the food, oh my gosh, full on comfort food. And I am not normally a fan of onion rings, but their onion rings are life changing. And my husband doesn't like onion rings, and he had some the first night, and like, let's just say we had to get some other nights because I just couldn't really share those. They were so good. And the sliders, they have like these little hamburger sliders that are like, you can like 3, 6, 12. There's so many items on the menu. They actually do a large menu. But even though it's a large menu, they do everything right. And like, say you want onions on something, like do you want raw onions, sauteed onions, caramelized onions? If you're getting a sandwich or a burger, do you want it closed sandwich? Do you want it open faced? They do like sweet potato fries, the fries. I think they do baked potato. I think they do other things like that, but get the onion rings. And I really enjoyed their drinks too. 2 of the nights I got like this cappuccino martini. And what's so cool is you get it, and it's a good size item, and then they bring the shaker. So when you pour that in, it's practically like getting a second drink. And the very last night I got the limoncello spritzer, which is like limoncello. I think it had Prosecco and like real lemon slices in it, and that was so refreshing. And I'm over here in Washington State, and so Sleepy Hollow is so far away, and I can't tell you how many times I'm just like, oh, I wish I could go to Horse Feathers tonight. That would be so perfect. So I know I went on about that one a bit, but it's so good and so worth it. And while you can see Sleepy Hollow in a day, we were actually there 2.5 days, and there were still more things I wanted to go do. There's estates, there's these cool houses. They had a short-running Poe event that was like, go hear actors reciting Poe and have cocktails and stuff. I didn't have time to do that. There was just so many cool things. So if you could do just one day, do it, but maybe you can consider a couple days. It did rain a lot off and on. So one of the days we ended up going to Washington Irving's home, Sunnyside. And that was so great because even though it was raining, like you meet at the visitor center, so there's parking, and then you go to the little visitor center area, and that's where you meet. You can buy like your ticket online even in advance to do that, or you can probably buy one there. And they have different times throughout the day you take the tour. And they do have umbrellas there, so if you don't have an umbrella and it's raining, they do have umbrellas there from the walk from the visitor center over to Sunnyside. It's just a short walk, but there's this tree there that's like 400 years old that you can see, which I was really hoping to see some cool trees. And then when you go in Sunnyside, it's great because, again, if it's raining outside, you're not going to get rained on because now you're inside. And it was so lovely. I knew some things about Washington Irving, but I learned so much more. And our guide was lovely. And we really, I think, lucked out because both of us, we went to go on this tour, and it was just us and the guide. So we really had more time to ask questions and get some cool information. I learned so much about the author, and I just highly recommend it. I will say you do have to go upstairs in it, and then they take you down a different set of stairs, which might be a little harder to navigate if you have any mobility issues, so do consider that. My husband's like 6'8", and it was because he's so tall, and the ceiling was kind of like that on the second set of stairs. If you're a really, really tall person, that set of stairs might be a little tricky too. But if you fit, it's worth it. And he did it, so you could do it. If you happen to be in Sleepy Hollow on a Saturday, there's the Tash Farmers Market, and it's at Patriot Park. And there's a lot of history attached to that area. And it's also the area in the book where Ichabod sees like is near Andre's tree, and John Andre was actually caught in that area as a spy, and he was like kind of doing like, I think, taking paper somewhere for Benedict Arnold when Arnold was like turning coat and going the other way. And so there's a lot of actual like history. So it's so strange to me to be there and having like coffee and a cookie, knowing things like that took place there. But it's a beautiful park. Parking for that, there's actually near it is a high school, and there is some parking spots there that are for parking for the market, or you can park kind of around the area too if you're just, you know, kind of wondering where parking is. And you go into the park and it goes all around like this, all the different little booths. So they're really kind of spread out and it's neat. But my favorite part was, of course, a cookie, and it was the cookie of my dreams. So Erie Delights has a booth there, and it's an organic bakery, and I got their s'more cookie. And so you've got like, so imagine chocolate chip cookie, but in the bottom of it is also a graham cracker, and then inside is a big marshmallow, and then the chocolate chip dough is over that, and it's like this, if you can see in the photo. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the cookie I've been dreaming of my entire existence. And she also had, oh my God, she was so lovely too. Just like, you know, when someone just greets you with like the most warmest smile, and like everybody there was just so nice, and it was just so lovely. And it was also raining though, so we had umbrellas, which always, you know, can make things a little more tricky. Yeah, it was really worth it. I think I've got one more place for you to visit that personally I had never heard of. And the way I found out about it was when we were at Washington Irving's house, the guide actually told us about this. And it's called Union Church. And what blew my mind about Union Church was that there were 9 windows by Marc Chagall. And the rose window was done by Henri Matisse, and it was actually the very last thing he designed, and he passed away just a couple days after finishing the design for the rose window. So who knew? If you're in Sleepy Hollow, you can go see some Chagall and Matisse if you're into art. So I hope that gives you a tip maybe that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise. So if you have a little extra time, or again, if it's a rainy day, there's a small fee to get in there, but you kind of just look around and see it for yourself. And they have little cards about each window, kind of like their meaning and stuff. And I totally forgot to show you really these 2 mugs. I wanted to get a mug when I was in Sleepy Hollow to go with the theme. And I didn't really see any that stood out to me because I love coffee mugs, but I want them to be just a little bit unusual. And at Washington Irving house at the visitor center is actually where I bought a keychain, and I bought 2 mugs because who can buy just one? Look at that. Got the Headless Horseman, and you got the Legend of Sleepy Hollow on the other side, and all these cool trees. I love this one, but this particular mug did not say microwavable, and I don't think it is, so unfortunately I can't microwave it, and I'm definitely someone that needs to microwave my coffee like 3 times before I finish it because I like it hot. But I love the design for like drinking out of, or a display for Halloween. And then I got this one, and it's got the Welcome to Historic Sleepy Hollow sign on it. But what I really liked was when you look inside, it's got bats. And so I thought that kind of made it like stand out and be unique. And this one you can microwave. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll hit like and subscribe to my channel. And please let me know if you've ever been to Sleepy Hollow. And if you've been thinking about it, just do it. In fact, this trip, so we're in Washington State, and I know people are like, you drove? Like, yes, we drove. We drove all the way to the East Coast. We went to Sleepy Hollow, and then we did a little stopover in New Milford, Connecticut to have a Gilmore Girls Day. And then I think I'll be making a video down the road of Salem, because we also went to Salem, Massachusetts, which I was only there 1 full day. That is not enough for that. Just something to let you know, sometimes things might seem scary. I'll be honest, because we were going across country and it had been a little bit since we'd taken like a long trip or a major trip. You know, the day before I honestly almost canceled. I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And then even after the first day of driving and we were at the hotel that night, we were like, what are we doing? Maybe we should go home. Because sometimes things can seem daunting and overwhelming, and these challenges to overcome. And the first day there was like snow in an area that normally didn't have snow. And then we had all this rain and we had all this stuff going on. And if we would have canceled it, oh yeah, even when we got to Sleepy Hollow, my husband like instantly got a cold. So sometimes things don't work out as you plan. But then you discover other things. Like I found ways, like what could I do when it's raining? What are things I could go inside, like the Union Church and going to Irving's and being at that cool grocery store. And yeah, I just like don't give up. Even if things seem a little scary, just push through, because I am so glad I went. In fact, I could just totally go move to that area right now. So yeah, I wish you adventures and joy. And even if you're a little scared, if something's your dream, do it. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And oh my gosh, I just want to go back so bad. I'm just dreaming of the things I want to do and what I might want to wear, because of course I took some cool dresses. So I wish you well, wish you joy, and thank you for liking and subscribing and hanging out with me. Have a beautiful, wonderful, magic, spooky, sleepy hollow kind of day.